Welcome everybody, my name is François Letarte and this is my channel JDR-D30, a channel about tabletop role-playing games. This will be a look back, reflection, and an attempt to a short recap of the last two sessions I did for All for One Régime Diabolique series campaign. I was the game master for those two games. We are, it's a rotating game master concept. And it was my turn for the last two sessions. So it will be a look back at that. It was with Ivan Mike 1968 and Runeslinger. They have their recaps of the games I have mentioned. It will be in the link below, along with the original videos of that. So there will be lots of links below. But I'll try to be short as possible with the recaps. There's the solo session for Anthony's character, Martin. Okay, it was the exploration of Martin through the friendship of a woman we discovered through the whole session, because we were traveling through his memories to recall what is the relation he has with that woman. That woman is Margot. This is the name of the session. Margot is a bread maker, and yeah, she's a peasant girl, but at the same time very intriguing one, very literate, very free-thinking woman, more than what we could expect in that period of time. She's married to Jean, the owner of the boulangerie Pain pour tous, which is not nice at all with her. So through that we discover the relation, and we see that's the thing that I find interesting. We can see Martin out of context of adventure and danger. Is just seeing how he behaves with someone, okay? And okay, it was an exploration of his deep self, in a sense. All through his memory, though, there was someone spying on him, and there have been doubt that it might be Margot was spying on him in this very strange way. But in the end, we discovered that it was not Margot. It was someone passing as her, dressed like Margot, to spy on Martin. And we discovered that the person spying Martin was Dorothea Martel, a long-lost cousin from Hungary, coming to France to claim the Martel family. Martin, one of his goals is to have to lead the family and gain the power of that. Take the control of the family. Be I don't find the right word. Okay, be the head of the family, okay? But she comes to France and she wants to claim that. And to show that she can do anything to meet her goal, she took Dorothea as a victim, for a sacrifice, to show Martin her power. So Dorothea kills, well, okay, spoiler, she will kill Margot by the end of the adventure. To take, the sacrifice will help her in her magic to raise some deads to attack Martin. I think you should watch the session. But nevertheless, it opened the door to a new nemesis. Something also happened by the end of the session. He met with Peter, which was some sort of a right arm of Dorothea, and that person, he tried to chase him in Paris, but he suicided himself, saying to Martin that he wouldn't be able to gain the control of the family. Peter had a strange skin color, kind of grayish, though he didn't seem sick, and he had some tattoos and a big bag of Hungarian coins, enough to give, well, lots of wealth for Martin for at least a year. The next session begins with Ivan, and it was at the funeral of Margot and Jean. Yeah, Jean, the husband of Margot, was killed. There's suspicion that Margot might have killed him, but probably Dorothea is behind that too. The musketeers are under orders to make heavy musket training. They go to their training, but there's not enough powder to do the training, and it's quite strange. They were expecting to have enough powder to shoot the muskets. And yeah, all the while something strange, you know. Alphonse, my character, which was very present in the solo session of Martin, is not there, is absent. He wasn't at the funeral, he wasn't the day before when Mr. Letrevé announced, make the announcement about the heavy musket training. So they investigate on that. They discover that Alphonse is in the Bastille because he went to the Louvre to meet Anne Bourdon, and probably the lady was very, very upset, and she has enough power to send him in the Bastille. Alphonse Clothing will return back to his home, and with some Hungarian coins in his pocket, which is strange because, you know, he couldn't have taken it from Martin. It's not his style. So he found them somewhere and put that in his pocket. A funny thing about the session with Ivan and Anthony is that we discovered at last, for those who have followed this series, we discovered the characters discovers at last that Eugene is a woman. At least Claude, the lackey of Martin and Philippe Moreau, Ivan's character, knows about that. Throughout the session, they have to fight some opponents with grayish skins and tattoos and all that. They try to interrogate them, and it's without success. They die before they can give any answers. Though through investigation, they discover that the guy on his shirt has some black powder stains. And yeah, we already know that the musketeers can't shoot their weapon because they are out of black powder. And throughout this adventure, even Philippe had to mess with a bomb. Someone has put a bomb at Alphonse's door, Briscoeur's home. Philippe was there. You have to see the adventure to see why. But nevertheless, the bomb was there. He was able to get rid of it. So three events about black powder. They made their investigation to see to learn that the provider of the black powder has been paid with Hungarian money for lots of supply of powder. That's the reason why there was some delays in the musketeers' supply for their muskets. It brings Martin and Philippe to a storage barn where the powder should be. It's guarded by some paid mercenaries, and they had to fight them. They don't want them enter, and that became very nasty because those guards had musket, and Philippe was heavily wounded. It was a one-shot deal. They were in big trouble. They were able to enter the barn to discover that there was no black powder there, but wine, barrels of wine, which is strange. They are guarding the wine. Well, they are in trouble in there. They have to fight their way with other gunmen in there. They find a way to get rid of them by making the barrels fall, but they were themselves trapped by their own IDs, which made them, they were captured after that. The one that ordered that they should be captured and brought to the leader is none other than Julien Lebeau. A villain that was introduced in Ivan's session. He brought them to a very luxurious mansion where there was this big meeting. And big is a small word here, because Dorothea Martel was there, Émile Martel, which is another cousin of Martin, which was a recurring villain appearing once in a while. They didn't have a direct threat from Émile, but it was a personal problem. It was something personal with Martin. There was Julien Lebeau. There was some witches from the convent of Saint-Henri. There were some Martel cultists, some members of the Beauvais family, especially René Beauvais. They were discussing on a plan, maybe to bring back together the Martel family and how it should be done, and who will do what in this. And there's an argument between Dorothea and Émile. Both of them want to be the head. And for them, it was a big surprise that Martin and Philippe appeared, since they weren't expected at all. They were trying hard to kill them, so they're still alive, and they're in that salon where there's the meeting. So it was a way for them to show Martin, aha, you will never be the head of the family, and see why. And you know, it was a show of power, just to humiliate Martin in front of all of them. He was all messed up with dried wine on him, and Philippe was heavily wounded. Okay, it was very humiliating. I will open up something on a reflection there. As a game master, I was really wondering how they would get out of this one. It felt like the TPK as a game master. So I let them have their own solution to that. I didn't want to hand them a solution. The plan of Dorosia, which we can figure out with what happened, was to choose. Was to give the choice to the people there on who wants to follow her for her claim of the family, Martel family. Some of the assembly followed her, and you know, she said, "Oh, I have to take a walk outside. Okay, I need to talk to some people. Follow me if you want to talk with me." And some people followed. All the Beauvais family followed. Julien Lebeau followed. And the other people that was still there, yeah, they were arguing a little again. They were taunting Martin. All the while, Philippe, who didn't know what to do, looked at the window and saw someone run with a torch towards the entrance of the basement. And he was really running. And then he figured out that, maybe there was something wrong with the basement. Where do we store the wine in a mansion like that? It's in the basement. So they figured out that it was the black powder that was there instead. So the black powder that was supposed to be in the barn was exchanged with the wine that was in that mansion. Philippe simply jumped out of the window, okay, taking all he had left to do that because he was heavily wounded. Martin tried to do the same. Emile tried to kill him, to choke him. But Martin, figuring out what was happening with a big effort, and it was really the hand of fate. But I rolled a botch with Emile. That was the first time I rolled a botch in that game. Whatever it was, my character or any role that I've made, I always had at least one success. That was the first time that I rolled a 0. Which, since it's a botch, whatever Emile was trying to do, like choking Martin and all that, it failed. And Martin was able to succeed in what he was attempting, which was to get out of the window, even with his hand tied, with Emile. You know, throwing him out of the window with his legs. And that's what saved their lives. If it hadn't been from Martin going out of that window, Philippe probably would have died, buried by the debris of the house that exploded, by the way. It all exploded. Martin was the only one to do something outside, and he was able to get out just at the right moment. It's fun to see our role-playing games sometimes as those surprises, okay? Because I really didn't know how they would get out of this one, and yeah, they just attempted something, and the dice have decided of their fate, simply as that, and it was highly exciting. So the house blew up, and they were able to escape. Their lackeys, especially Claude, suspected that they would maybe blow up. He was worried, and he was able to rent a carriage to bring Philippe, Martin, and Emile. Martin saved the life of Emile, so I'm looking forward to see what will going on. Yeah, what will go on for the next session. What will happen? Okay, that was my attempt to be short. My reflection of that. It was very intense, especially the Margot. The Margot session was, for many reasons, it was a heavy one for me. Well, in the good sense. I created an adventure. I created an NPC that was solid enough to, to hook Anthony's character. Okay, I wanted to create a free-thinking woman, literate one, some mysteries. She had some behaviors that made. Okay, I really created an NPC for Martin to interact with, and it was a way for me to create someone that his characters would have sympathy for, and I succeeded in that. I'm very happy, because by the end she was the bait, without her consent of course, but she was the bait of that machination that Dorosia was handing. She took the occasion of that relation to create a trap to kill Martin and show him her power, and like I said, that she would take any means possible to reach her goal. It was heavy though. It was one of those occasions that I have created a character, an NPC that I really loved. It would have been a very interesting character to have back. But I really created, and it was heavy to create a character knowing that her chance to die was very high. Maybe he would have been able to save her. Okay, maybe I don't know how all the different scenes would have turned out. But yeah, it was hard, and the game has been it has been long before the game's. Between the time the adventure was ready and we actually played the adventure, so I was keeping in myself the weight of the plot, and that NPC that I knew was condemned to die. It's strange, and I worked hard to make this all happen. Since we were playing into Martin's past, there was that difficulty, that to flow, that I have to leave him with free choices. I didn't want to railroad him into already written scenes of his past. I wanted him to write his own past. So yeah, we were joking about dying in the past. Maybe it would have happened. Yeah, I don't know how I would have figured out this one, but yeah, it was all there. And I introduced Dorosia. I wanted to introduce a very solid nemesis. The black powder stains. The screws were a little more loose in that one, if I compare to the two other sessions that I ran for this campaign. I had the Crows of the Wendigo, a couple of months back, and Martin solo. I worked very hard to make the thing, in tune, okay, with the setting and what I wanted to bring, and the historical facts that might be there. And for black powder stains, the only thing I really prepared, it was that meeting, and by the end, who was there and who will follow Dorosia. That was basically it. And just getting backward to different elements of that would lead there, but without. I've just created a context and let the player loose into that. I didn't want this time to have that, letter or NPC coming at them and say to them, hey, you have to go that way, okay? Because it's a one shot, and sometimes you need to a little push like that. So I really tried to make them, go on their own way, okay? And that's what they did, okay? I think the ending scene and how it went had many rich elements that wherever they would look, they may have found out something about that, and eventually those things were leading them there. I didn't expect them to be there in the salon by the end. You know, I think it was a great surprise to have them captured, because they could have been just in Paris when that house will have blown up, and they would just have heard of that and then investigate afterward. But they were there. I was very pleased that they were there, because I wanted them at least to know what was going there, you know, to have many details of that. And not only they have many details of that, they were there, you know, they were live at on location. So I'm very happy of that. Running All for One is a challenge for me on many levels. Okay, well, these are the basic. There are two basic stuff. The two basic things that I can mention here. The language barrier. I think it's obvious. It's not my main language, so sometimes I'm searching my word, or you know, I may lack vocabulary to make my description more rich. But I think I can handle myself. You know, everyone understands what I'm saying. Well, the rules, ubiquity. Even though it's my third session, you know, I don't master the rules fully. Okay. And especially for the black powder stain session, there were many surprises that I have to look up on the book. And you know, the game master rule saying, "Oh, find something on the fly and look afterward." No, I did want to look at the book. You know, the game is very well made in my opinion, and deserves to take a look. And since it was almost a sandboxy type of one shot. There were many situations that I haven't planned out that they were making, and so I had to look on the book. So yeah, it affected the fluidity of that. But I think we were very efficient, you know, with Anthony's knowing the rules and saying some stuff about it. Ivan, you know, we were discussing, and it was very short. It just broke the game a little. I think we were able to come back quite fast. It's an historical setting. I really love to work that kind of setting. This is probably my favorite setting of all time. And I like to be accurate on many things. Okay, I know that it's fantasy. I know that werewolves don't exist. But, you know, there's a context in there. There's a context why we play there. And yeah, there's the real factors, what happened for real into that world. So I have to bring a good balance between what can happen with the actions of the characters and what happened historically into that era. So that is a good challenge for me. I like to work with that. And well, Google Hangout, yeah. Okay, I think those who know and play on Google Hangout knows that there's a basic difficulty in playing to that, but not that much. You know, we're having so much fun that it's very convenient, if we can say that. It's very intense. It was a way for me to bring a nemesis that was a direct threat to the characters and Martin. Emile was to be a threat, but I don't know, it just didn't came out. So it was a way to provoke something about that, and to bring together, to connect the dot between the different villains that were thrown out throughout the different sessions, because we faced many type of villains, and before Dorosia, it felt like they were all evil masterminds in their own corner, doing their own stuff, and maybe come back for something. So having Dorosia trying to wrap this up, you know, they will work together, those who followed Dorosia. So maybe some juice, some fuels to maybe the other sessions, and I'll see what the other game masters will do with that. Okay, there's many open blank spaces that are all around what I've brought, so it will be up to the next game masters to use them or not, or to use Dorosia or not, or any other thing that I've brought through these sessions, you know. But nevertheless, it was a way to me to. It was a big. Those 2 sessions was a big introduction to an evil NPC. I could have just said that by the start of the video and stop it there. Yeah, that was a huge introduction to Dorothea Martel, which is a very influential, very rich woman, dangerous woman. She can do magic, and I said it more than once that she's ready to anything. She can do anything to reach her goal, and she showed it a couple of times throughout those 2 sessions. François Letarte, JDR D30. And up to next time, I hope you have as much fun in your life as in your games. Goodbye.